Hi, everybody. I haven't hosted a podcast before, so bear with me. All right. I think we'll just start with um, is there any other students here besides me? I think Toby is one. Toby is a student as well. Is there any other students here besides me?
Understood, yes.
Who is okay, Kenneth. Like, what school do
Yeah,
you
Kenneth.
study in?
FUTMINA.
What?
FUTMINA. Federal University of Technology,
Okay.
Yeah.
I think I'm the only one here like who goes to a private university, but that's fine. So in your schools, like what you are definitely allowed to move out at will, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So if in times like in election like this, you have choice to go out and vote if you want to.
Exactly. I think our school safe. We might have break. Some federal schools they give them break also.
Wow.
Yeah.
It seems like I'm the only one that has story to tell here. So apparently my school is saying it doesn't want us to leave. And we've had so I go to Babcock here. And we had this conversation with my dean one time. Like, already moving out of school typically is not easy. There's a lot of process that goes into it, a lot of unnecessary bureaucracy. So I understand that to leave school on normal day is hard. And then now this period that is election period, we've been like trying to ask my dean and all of that if we can leave school. And this man is not having it. I don't know if it's just a thing of apathy or he just wants us to be safe. Because when he was talking about it in class one time, he was saying, "Oh, aren't you safer in school than you are outside? Aren't you protected?" And let's be honest, the security people that are sitting in that school, they are not. They look like people that will leave us and run if anything should happen. To be honest,
They can't
like they are.
They can't Babcock.
I'm telling you,
No, I'm
CDCast.
being honest. I'm being honest. But then he said that they are like undercover, proper soldiers, one thing. But that's fine. But my own is, okay, this is one school out of how many? Out of so many, ma? This is like one school out of how many? And there are so many people who are above 18, who have their PVPs, who live in various parts of the country, and who want to vote. Because everybody is all, new system, new this, new that. So can you actually open the way for us to go? Let's be a thing of choice at this point. And he's not having it at this. He's really not having it. I don't even know if it's the same thing with other schools. If you have friends in like other private universities, have you heard stories from them? Have you asked what's going on? Are they allowed to leave school? Anything like that?
I think. Okay, can I go first?
Sorry, Kenneth, before you go ahead, I want to say, Nisochi, I would like to also hear about your experience 2019 because you're in CU, right? So how was it like then, as well?
Okay, so first of all, before I say my experience, let me just say that Covenant University will not be in session during the election. My brother is a student there. My sister is a student in Bowen, which is also a private university, and they are both coming home on the 20th. So they won't be in session. But then when I was in school, I was during election, we were actually in school, and I think it was funny because we used to hold like polls, just see students. It's sad when you think about it, but we just hold polls and who we think will win. And based on those polls, I think this guy won most of the polls that we had. This fella's son. Most of the polls that we had, he was the one that won. That won them. Yeah. So it was somehow.
Wait, so your elections were polls.
Yeah, that's how we did it. We did it. We had it in chapel and some other places. It was just so that we could have the feel. But I think the school management has now realized that that's wrong. But then at the same time, some people actually took excuses to go and vote, and I think that's like something I want to kind of emphasize, because when we really want to do something, we know how to get it done. Unless the school is in session, and even when unless we're writing exams, and even when we're writing exams, some students still can go home for 50th celebration of their dad or 60th celebration of their dad, and they will write to the school for them to, take the exams. And then more often than not, these permissions are actually granted. So I think anybody who really wants to vote, I don't really know which schools are in session during the election, but I think anybody who really wants to vote can actually take an excuse. And trust me, if many people are taking the excuse, the school might just decide to say, okay, let's take this period off, and if they drag too much, we know what's going on now. Isn't that in Uniben that students really dealt with a soldier? They flog the hell out of the guy and mess the guy up. So we're showing that we're a generation that won't take no for an answer. We always know how to get things done. I'm not of the field of thought that anybody is stranded in school and because of school you can't vote. If some of us had birthdays to attend, find a way to attend them. So anybody that wants to vote should take excuse from their school and go and vote. That's my take.
Yeah. Okay. Very good point. Actually, very good. But then, what I'm even thinking of people who live far away from school. So Babcock is in the west. There are people who are coming from Abuja, from Port Harcourt, from Akwa Ibom, from Cross River, different states. I know how Nigeria is. You have to vote where you register. And I'm not even going to deny the fact that it's not even going to be easy going back to where if you registered at home, it's not going to be easy going back. So what are you going to tell those people at that point? That, you can, even if you want to vote and you take excuse, the school grants you the excuse, grants you that permission. How are you going to get home in that short time? Would your parents even be willing to let you come home? With the hiking price of flights and all of that?
Right. To answer your question, right? Like I said, we know how to get things that we want when we really want those things. The election date has been fixed for like the longest time, and towards before the registration started in earnest, like in that October-November time when it was really thick, we were having people had the opportunity to change their polling stations even online. In fact, that was the one thing that remained online even after registration stopped being online, because at the point you could register online and then it stopped, but then it remained online, that the opportunity to change your polling station. So I mean, we all have our school calendars. There's a different thing if your school said this is when we'll be in session, but then most people whose schools are in session now knew that their schools would be in session. Do you understand? So if you actually have intention of voting during that period, you will have moved your polling station to somewhere around. I mean, there's really no limitation. It's just in our minds. There's really no limitation.
That's actually good. Anybody else?
Yeah, so like on the issue of private uni people who are still in school and the ability to vote, I'm still of the opinion, like Nsuchi has said, that there is no reason why you should not be granted a pass to perform your civic duty or civic obligation, because you're a core citizen of Nigeria. It is your civic responsibility to go to the polling station and exercise your civic rights and your civic duty. So in the instance whereby a school doesn't grant a student the pass to perform his or her civic obligation, I am of the opinion that it can actually be challenged, because number one, you are a citizen, and number two, it is your right to go and perform your civic obligation. So it is left for those who are in the universities per se to actually come out and say, I have to perform my civic obligation, I have to perform my civic duty. So in the absence of that, I mean, the chancellors of the universities will suggest that, obviously, like you've said in your own school, like, don't they think you're safer in school than you going out in the country and looking at how the situation of the country is now? But still, my conclusion is, if a student wants to vote, he or she can make the move and ensure that he or she votes, because it is your duty as a Nigerian citizen, if you are of age, to go and perform your civic obligation.
Thank you, Toby. Thank you. Okay, does anyone have like anything else they want to say?
So just to piggyback on Nesuchi, what Nesuchi said, but
Yeah.
this was the question, right? Going back to 2019, because I mean, for me, it's a situation we can look at now, especially because Nesuchi was in school and whatnot. So Toby and Ami and Kenneth, right? Not versus, but private versus public. I want to answer. Nesuchi, you said that you guys did opinion polls to kind of gauge who people will most likely vote for. I mean, it added 0 votes to the actual vote count in Nigerian elections in 2019, but then it gauged, right? That's number one. I want to know, okay, now, obviously you said that CU has allowed people to go and vote, which is different from Babcock, right? As Hepzibah has said, because our dean has said, zero that thing from your head. You're not going anywhere, you're staying in school. So I want to find out, like, in terms of
just before you continue, it's not like if you take personal permission, they'll say no, but generally they don't want us to leave school and they don't want us to get.
Yeah, so that's where I'm coming to. Like, by the time that everybody now asks for permission, it's going to be like a holiday. Does it make sense? Like, if 60% of people have gone, who are you going to really teach the next day or like the next week? You have to force yourself to like calm down your lectures or whatever for a week. Because during election period, like transportation reduces, right? I think there's no driving on the day of the election and whatnot. So at least people might take like 2 or 3 days. People will leave 2 or 3 days before the election, and people will come back 2 or 3 days before the election. So that's like 1 week that's gone from the academic calendar at the end of the day. So it's not as relevant as just saying it's a holiday. So yeah, that's what I'm asking, like Nesuchi. I don't know, have you were in school 2019 in uni? If you were to, then that's fine. Like, how did guys do it? People that went for election. Yeah, I want to hear from both sides, private and public.
All right. Like I said, we got to know that some people actually took excuse to go and vote, and it was not much. That's just to give you an idea of people that are actually really interested in this thing. Like people that had it in mind to vote, had all of those things covered, they took excuse and all of that. And I think that, from what I remember, I think Covenant University, like they brought a polling unit to Canaan Land for the lecturers. I really can't remember, but I think something like that happened. So some students too, who couldn't go home and were able to move their polling units, actually casted their vote right there in Ogun State. So yeah, and then to answer your question, yes, it will be a public holiday, and it will also be a way of showing the older generation that like we're actually serious about this change of a thing, because we don't want things to continue the way we met them. And one of the ways to ensure that is to show them that, okay, because by the time, like you said, by the time 60% of students have taken excuse to vote, the chancellor will just be like, we can't really do anything when 60% of our students are not here. Oh yeah, everybody go home, and those people that have voters card and the rest of that may not have ordinarily voted will now be encouraged to vote. So it's just a thing of us being ready to actually do what's necessary. I'm talking to myself.
No, Mado. Like I was waiting for Hepzibah doesn't want. Hepzibah, come and take your role. Well, I want to hear the public. So maybe Toby. So people that were in school, public uni in 2019, how was it for you guys?
I know if you remember how it was that time. I sure I wasn't even on strike that time, 2019. Said this federal school, we don't get strike too much.
You guys were on strike?
I don't know, probably because I don't know. I've totally forgotten. At that time, I don't think I had reached age to vote, so I don't know. This is our country political stuff, safe. I'm not really into them. Anything where this up. That time,
they go shoot you, God. This talk with
No, that time, But now, MI don't open. You know.
Wait, Toby, what
So-
about Unilag, uncle? I mean,
Yeah,
footman.
so of course. Yeah, University of Lagos is a federal institution owned by FG themselves, not even the Lagos state government. So your guess is as good as mine that there are actually polling stations right inside the university. So it's not a question of it's not even up to debate whether or not students can vote, because you actually have polling stations right inside the universities where you can cast your vote. So students are at liberty to vote or not. I mean, everybody, if you're in university, you're considered to be of age, else you won't be admitted in the first place, obviously. So everybody's at liberty to know whether or not they want to vote. But for those of us that have the intention of voting, provisions have been made right inside the university, whereby you can cast your votes at the polling units provided. So, I mean, it's way different from private universities, obviously. But this is the position now as we have it in the University of Lagos. It's open to all, both lecturers and students. Everybody casts their votes at the same place. It's just left for you to decide whether or not you want to vote or perform your civic duty or obligation.
Okay. So Toby, based on what you've just stated, I know that voting is where you register that you're supposed to vote, like the is it district or what now? That you register. So you might have the polling unit, but then based on not having to have registered Unilag, you won't vote in Unilag. Abi, am I getting this wrong?
No, you're not getting it wrong. Exactly. Me, myself, I'm a good example of that. For example, I registered in Abuja, not in University of Lagos. So if I want to vote come February 24th or so, I will have to fly back to Abuja to vote because I didn't put my polling units on my polling station to be University of Lagos because I registered last year. So if I was advised properly, I would have done it, what do you call it now, at the place I would be where the election is going to take place. But looking at it now, I can't do the vote transfer stuff again because the deadline has passed. So people like me now that registered somewhere else will have to actually leave the university to go and vote. But for those people that were advised properly, that know that the university has polling stations where they can cast their votes, they can actually walk from their hostels to the polling stations to cast their votes.
Okay. All right. I've not heard your voice. So.
No, I think what I would say is definitely just aside having polling units in and around school, right? It's a federal uni, so the restrictions are not that much. You can literally come in and go out as you please. I mean, nobody really cares, So people go home for the weekend, literally every other week. There's a lot of movements in and out of the university grounds and stuff. So there's really no restrictions as to whether or not you want to go home to vote. What I will say though is that most people who are not even voting sometimes go home during the election period because they're like, oh, in case there's a riot or there's an issue or whatever, you don't want to be in school grounds. They feel like they're safer at home or with their parents or wherever they are voting during the election period rather than being on university ground. So I think as far as voting is concerned, federal unis, they don't care. Bye. But if you like, in this class, if you like, don't come. If you like, that's your business. So there's never really been an issue of whether or not you will be able to vote. If you want to, you can go home. If you don't want to, stay in school and stuff. Yeah.
Okay. Mad. All right. I think this perspective is very important, especially for, I honestly believe that private schools, at the end of the day, right, should at least leave it open. Allow students to be the ones that will choose, right? Kind of like a mini referendum within your internal system. should you guys go and vote? Yes. If not, no. Because at the end of the day, still people's mind will still be on it, like on the elections, right? During the course of that week. So just it's not even a good season, I would say. Abi is not the most productive season, probably, mentally speaking, especially like with this election for people to just be in school. Like imagine after 25th of February, you're now going to have calculus 102 or something. Your mind will not even be there at the end of the day. But anyways, that's just my perspective. But thank you guys for sharing 2019 perspectives and just basically what you guys, at least from your universities, what you have decided to do so far. I wish we could just petition, go to change.org or something, so that we'll allow can push the government to do something about this. Okay. I'll leave. If anybody wants to add anything, but if not, thank you for this conversation. It's shorter than usual, but I think it was necessary to have at the end of the day. But yeah, maybe come. It's 20 days away now, actually. So in the next 3 weeks, we'll see who will be leading the Nigerian for the next 4 years, basically. I want to know, like, you guys here, are you guys going to vote? Sone Sochi, Toby, Amiolo, and Hepzibah? I mean, Hepzibah, I don't, probably not because of your
Yes.
school.
Definitely.
Toby, are you voting?
Of course, Namusa. So, me being a Nigerian man, as I am, me carrying Nigeria in my head. If I actually don't vote, not even my conscience not be poking me, but people will come after me. That you that me kind of Nigerian in your head, you can't even perform this simple civic duty of you just going to the polling station and casting your votes. So, in conclusion, my final take on the situation is that I've stated how it looks like in the public universities, but what I'm not so sure of is the private universities, because I haven't been to one, obviously. So, but from what I've heard so far, those that are interested in voting should actually take the excuse that they want to take just to perform their civic duty, because every vote counts. Every vote counts. No votes will not count. So every vote counts, and those that are interested should actually take it up and go and perform their civic duty. So I'm an advocate of that. So, and that's both the private and the public universities balance the voting abilities of students. So that's my final take on it.
Okay, interesting. Nasuchi, anything you want to add? Final words. Are you voting?
Let's just continue to pray.
Are you voting as well? Yes.
Again, I'm voting.
Yes.
Well, I actually didn't get my voter's card, so
The deadline was extended now.
It
was extended now.
Yeah, but I was conflicted. Musa, I've had this conversation before. I feel you just want to put me on the spot. But then, yeah, I was conflicted for the most of the time, so I didn't get my voter's card. But I'll be cheering on everyone who wants to vote. Please go and perform your civic duty.
Cheerleader. Better come out with your pump on that deal.
I also make available food items and all of that to polling units close to us, just to make sure that we encourage people to vote.
Okay. At Ami?
Yes, sir.
Are you voting in this election?
I voted.
Yeah. Are you voting?
Oh, yeah.
All right. Excellent. And Hepzibah, are you actually going to, are you going to stay in school, or are you going to go back home?
I'm most likely going to stay in school. The situation is very similar to Toby's. I registered in Port Harcourt. So going back is not going to be very easy.
Okay. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. But and the situation, and whereby the like the school actually shuts down, like federal government orders schools to shut down, that means you have to go back.
I will have to go back then.
Okay.
No problem, sir. If that happen.
Cool. All right, now, guys. Thank you so much for sharing with us. Thank you for just the knowledge on everything. We'll catch up in the next episode. Hopefully, a less political episode, but then something that is still relevant to the national discussion at the end of the day. Have a nice day and see you next time.
Bye, guys. Sending you love, hugs, and imaginary nail not hash wherever you are. See you next week.
Goodbye, everyone.
If you want new notes, a message in the Sochi.
See you guys. Have a good evening.
Bye, guys.
Bye, everyone. Let's see.